Yeah, we need to get a group of
Yeah, he does.
Welcome everyone to the Victorian Socialists Thomastown door knock. Great to see so many people out here to door knock in this very working class suburb. We're going to be pairing up people right now to be able to go out with the maps. And so if you have a car, we're wanting you to be over here. If you don't have a car and need a car buddy, because it seems that most places are not within walking distance. So first we're going to hear a bit from Steve about the key issues for Thomastown.
I think you're going to hit two demographics here. There's a lot of refugees from the inner city, people at your age who work, whose parents lived, and they possibly in the past lived, who went to school, who party in the inner city but just can't afford to live there anymore. Fitzroy, like a one-bedroom apartment in Fitzroy now, it's like $450 a week. Trust me, I know. So you're going to get a lot of people out here who are actually the very, very same demographic that you guys have mixed with the university, mixed with the inner city. And don't be afraid to talk to them about the environment, about socialism, about our big picture stuff, and don't dumb it down, But there are also a lot of older working class people. This used to be the heartland of Melbourne's working class. It's now obviously moved out more to the north. There's a lot of older people who live here who feel absolutely betrayed by the Labor Party, just taken for granted. They're not 100% switched on to the Greens for a whole number of reasons, not least of which is their performance on Darebin Council a bit to the south, their anemic, approach to class issues, and that was reflected in Jed Kearney's victory in the by-election. So it's going to be a lot of older folk with the basic class issues, the privatisation, how privatisation has been an absolute disaster, the lack of integration of public transport, the lack of affordability of housing, which will also affect the other demographic. So I think there's going to be two sort of distinct demographics that we're going to hit upon today. But you will be surprised of the number of young people here that were from the inner city. And so it's a little bit like Broadmeadows. It's much more like Broadmeadows than where we were yesterday in Clifton Hill, which even though it's an electorate stronghold, it's like bourgeois central, sort of petty bourgeois central. This is like a little bit different, sort of a combination of the inner city and the northern suburbs. So you've got to be really on your toes.
Privatisation's been a disaster. Your electricity and gas bills are going through the roof. This is because this essential service is being run for profit. We want to bring that back into public hands. We want to renationalise those utilities. We also want to see public transport brought back into public hands as well. It's not only too expensive, there's not enough services, and actually that's because the corporations are pocketing all the subsidies that the state government is giving them. We want to see public transport made public again. So all that sort of stuff about privatisation should be one of the leading things. The other thing to say is this area is taken for granted by the Labor Party. They don't give a shit about working class people's lives. We need to send a message to Labor that people in this area are for greater funding for health and education, are for workers' rights, are for an end to the stagnating wages and for an end to the attacks on our penalty rates. We think that the politicians are self-serving. They only give a damn about themselves and their corporate mates. And that's why we need to get someone like Steve elected, someone who is a community activist, someone who's committing to only take an average skilled worker's wage. So some of the, these people are criminals. We actually need to get someone who's going to fight for working class people in Parliament. So that's the idea. And then, and raise some of the other broader progressive questions as well. And make it clear you're voting for us above the line in the upper house. You have to vote for Victorian Socialists in the upper house. We're not running a lower house candidate in Thomastown. So that's where they should be voting for us. Okay, so let's get going. So those without a map and have a car over there, and those without a map without a car over here, and then we will pair you up.
With maps, like stand well
with maps,
stand away.
With maps, go get it. Get your material. Yeah. Make sure you use the app
Right now. Oh yeah, I grabbed part of these for you. Okay, yeah.